Okay. Hello there, Simon. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for helping me through that start there.
That's all right. Are you getting the same glorious sunshine as we've got here?
Oh, we are. Isn't it lovely? And unfortunately, I've missed most. Well, I say missed most of the day. I've been a little bit off colour today, so it's just been a bit. I've just been popping out now and again, but
Yeah,
thank God I'm being a little bit okay now.
good. And did you go out on your bike earlier? I know you was planning on going on a
Yes,
bike
I
ride.
was going out on my bike. I got down the road, and that's where I was getting the chest pains. So I came
Ah,
back.
all right.
I thought, oh, not good, not good. But no,
Yeah,
I'm okay now at the moment. Fingers crossed, I will remain okay.
good.
My
Yeah.
my son and husband get a bit frustrated because I'm one of those that doesn't like going to the doctor because every time I go, they seem to find something new that's wrong.
Oh
So
dear.
one thing I did experience today, which was beautiful, was seeing a butterfly unfurling its wings for the first time after coming out of a cocoon. Right here in
Wow.
my garden, right here by my cabbages, but sure, if it takes a cabbage, I don't care. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It was extremely strange because at first I thought, what the hell is that? I've never seen an insect like that. So I thought, oh, and I went to put it into my hat in my hand and realized it was the wings unfurling of a butterfly. And I looked,
Wow.
and it'll have red and brownish sort of wings. So I'm it might have gone. I'm not sure. I'll pop out and have a look later on. But it was so beautiful to see. They do
Yeah.
look a bit strange though without the wings. Ooh. Do I want that crawling on my hand? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, you almost imagine it to be like instant as well, don't you? That they break out and then suddenly these are those beautiful wings. And I think I
You
might have
would,
seen it on like a fast motion type
yes,
of
yeah.
documentary, natural,
Its
natural.
wings were like they looked like little buds off a tree, to be honest, like two little stumpy buds. And I realized what it was, so I stepped away from it. I left it. I went back, and they'd come out a little bit more and a little bit more. And just earlier on this evening, they were starting to look like wings, which was really nice to see.
Oh, that's
Yes.
lovely.
Oh, it was brilliant.
One of nature's little gifts for you.
It is. I tell you, I tell you, since I've got into this gardening lark, I'm getting quite brave when it comes to insects as well. I've even had to gently remove spiders out of my potting shed.
I love you. Have you not? Are you normally frightened of spiders?
I used to be quite afraid of them, yeah,
Did you?
but I've been handling them and actually realizing that they're not unpleasant to hold at all.
No,
You know, I
that's
think
a
it's
big.
the eyes, the eight
I
eyes that look back at you.
Oh, I know, and it depends. I mean, if they're tiny spiders, but I live on the 19th floor, so I think in 19 years of living here, there's been
Yeah.
two occasions where I've had a spider,
Oh,
which
is
is
that
one was
all?
in the bath and one was in the hallway. And
My
when I
God.
walked down the hallway, it was one of those big ones, and it literally went like that, as if I'm getting ready to pounce. And I was like, I was frozen. It was frozen.
It's quite, when you have an encounter, it's quite unreal. We went walking through the woods here, and they always say, "Oh, there's no snakes in Ireland." That's a lie. That's a lie because I nearly stood on one. It was only a grass snake, but I don't think it was an adder. I think it was a grass snake, but it was a little bit
Was
of a
it?
fright all the same. You think you're not supposed to be here. I'm not in the ruddy jungle.
Yeah, you've got no place being here.
That's it. So, what I was thinking we'd have a look at today is to have, say, take three decks. I've sort of got it same card, different decks. Okay.
Okay.
We pick out, say, one of our favorite cards. So we can pick out three favorite cards, get the matching cards from other decks, and see how, when we look at those cards, we can actually glean even more from a card because of the different images, and you know how the images can take you down a path and they can sort of steer
Mm.
your intuition in a way. And I thought that would be, to see how that actually can and does work. Do you know?
So do I need three decks?
Yeah, you can choose 3 decks, 2 decks, whichever you think. So it's
Okay.
odd different decks.
Let's see. Let's go with, and it doesn't have to be the same as yours. It can be
No,
any 3
no,
decks.
yeah, any
Okay.
3. So if you like for instance, I like picking the strength card for say. So the strength card in each deck, you know.
Okay. Let's go with that one. And I'll go with my newest one as well, Lubok.
Hi Nancy, it's lovely to see you.
Yeah, there's a few people in. We've got Rachel's in as well.
I was just to highlight Rachel there. Yes, Rachel, do you know it really was a beautiful experience seeing those butterflies, or that butterfly, I should say, not butterflies, butterfly. That was lovely. And there's Jackie's crystal moon. Hey up, Jackie.
Hey up, me ducks.
Oh.
And David's here. Hi, David.
Where's
He said he used to keep caterpillars.
Yes, I've just seen. David, can I ask you, when you used to keep caterpillars, were they from silkworms? Because I used to keep silkworms and watch them spin silk, you know, have them spin silk, and they used to turn into a big ugly white moth. They were actually quite traumatic looking moths. You know. And I tell you what, I have a story for that one and all. My sister wouldn't thank me for telling it though. Oh,
that's one thing I've never been able to overcome. It's my fear of moths. Most other things.
What do you think created that, Simon?
I think it was when I was now I was living in Sawley, so I would be probably about the age of 11, and it was just me and my mum then. She hadn't remarried. And I used to get tonsillitis a lot.
Yeah.
And it was probably around this time of year, I think, when it was kind of getting nice and warm. And I got tonsillitis, and I used to have it really bad. Sometimes it would turn to quinsy. And it carried on throughout my life. And at the age of 33, I made the decision to have my tonsils removed because it was impacting on work and everything.
Yeah.
And I was in bed, and I'd been in bed for a couple of days because it would literally floor me when I got it.
Yeah.
And it was in the evening, and the light was on in the bedroom, and the window open. Everyone used to think, if you're poorly, you need to have air in the room, you know, let all the germs out.
Yeah.
And I was falling asleep, and I was aware of a sensation around my lips. Yeah. And when I opened my eyes, there was a moth fluttering. And it was agony because I've got tonsillitis, and I let out this primal scream, and I felt like I was going to cough blood up. I felt like I was. I've
got in my head.
It was horrific.
Oh.
And then I was on about it a few years later, and somebody said, "Well, actually, you know, if you think about it, like bats, then they want to be in like dark, cavernous, damp places, and obviously my mouth obviously was the place for it to try and get into.
Nora.
But the thought of having a moth inside my mouth.
No, I think that would take anyone off. That would.
Yeah, and I've always been petrified of them. And again, one of the benefits of living here is they're not that energetic to fly up 19 stories. And if they were, they'd probably go into a window on the 10th floor or the 11th floor before coming all the way up to mine. So I've never had a moth here.
Well, that's good. That's good. And do you know, is it strange? Our Amy was in hospital this weekend with acute tonsillitis. She's 31, and she's suffered all her life. And they wouldn't take them out when she was a child. And now,
same.
Yeah. And
I
like Quinsy as well. She's been in a bits with it.
That is horrific. Quinsy is really horrific. And I just said to the doctor this particular time, you know, you've just got to take them out because I'm getting tonsillitis almost every 6 months, regular as clockwork, and I can't keep having time off work. It's affecting my life in a negative way. And he agreed to do it. He said, right, okay, let's get them out once and for all.
That's very similar to what's happening with Amy now. She's down now to have a tonsillectomy, and it's not nice as an adult having that done, is it?
It's not. No, and they I didn't have. I won't, you know, not to put your daughter off because I'm still glad I did it. But I didn't do myself any favors because in the hospital I had a fever and they stripped the bed of all blankets and opened the window and pushed my bed in front of the window to try and bring my temperature down. Sounds almost Victorian, doesn't it?
It
And
does,
then she said to me the next morning, if you can eat toast, you can go home. Well, the last thing I could eat after having an operation on my throat was toast. Well, the other guy, there was two of us in this room. The other guy had gone in for some surgery. I think it was carpal tunnel. And I just said to him, do you want my toast? So he said, yeah, I'll have your toast. So anyway, when she came around, she went, oh, good, you've had your toast, you can go home. It didn't do me any favours because then I got an infection. And that was dreadful.
That was the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. So prolonged, I ended up having something like 6 weeks off work because of the operation and then having an infected throat.
That was brutal. Good grief. I just see here David said that he found the caterpillars on bushes near his house. I'd get magpie moths too. They're white with black patches and they look like butterflies. Ah, lovely. There are some beautiful moths and butterflies, but like that, when you have an experience like that, it would definitely put you off. My sister can't stand moths, and that is to do with our when we used to collect these silkworms. We used to feed them mulberry leaves. They used to spin pink. Then they would crawl into that cocoon and then emerge as moths. And we were waiting for them to emerge as moths, expecting pretty looking moths. But they were anything but pretty looking moths. And I opened the box and they just rose out like a cloud. My sister had long hair. They attached themselves to Diane's hair, her face, her clothes, and I ran out the room and closed the door. I wonder why she has phobias.
David says I can send one to Simon. Please don't. And Rachel said Quincy was the only reason they would take their tonsils out too.
Yes, Rachel, it's the same with my daughter as well. It's a blooming nightmare for you all. I think I was one of the lucky ones. They took them out when we were children, but they stopped that, didn't they? They said they're not removing them if they're necessary to. If they don't serve a purpose, they just cause you hell. Just take them out, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. What cards have you chosen, Simon?
Well, the decks I've chosen. Are you picking a card? And then we look at that one. But I've got the Greenwood.
Oh, lovely.
I've got the Gaian Tarot.
Right.
And I've got the Lubok.
Oh, that's nice. I have picked out the Tarot Illuminati. I've picked out the Dark Mansion. I've got my RWS standing onto one side, but I'll leave that there for now. And I have got the Fairy Folk Tarot. So those ones there. So do you want to go first?
So what? Just randomly choose a card?
Yeah, choose which one you. I like to identify with strength. There are aspects to my life that fit with 4 cards, and the 4 cards are the Fool, the High Priestess, Strength, and the Hermit, and they're all from different stages of my life to date. So
let's go with that then. So if we said the Strength first, then we've got 6 different Strength cards, haven't we?
Perfect. Yep, all the different Strength cards. Yep.
So Strength card in the Greenwood is beautiful.
That is gorgeous.
I love this deck. I never thought I'd get it, and it was gifted to me.
That's gorgeous.
And I just hope it comes back so other people can enjoy this deck as well. But this one in particular, when we're used to seeing Strength cards, we're used to seeing, if you look back historically, it was some were quite brutal, weren't they, in terms of, how the lion is being depicted. What I love about this, because the Strength card is always about inner strength, and it's about courage, and it's about going deep, and finding that courage and inner strength within yourself. And that's what I love about this image, because she is a lioness.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and then there's a leopard here at the bottom as well. Yes. But again, they're not in combat. There's no dominance of one over the other. And I always used to look at those historic decks and see the strength card and think, oh, well, it's about asserting your strength over something else. And that's not what it's about at all, for me anyway.
Yeah, no, it's not for me either, to be honest.
But she is so grounded. She is so rooted. And look how she's holding the vessel right in her solar plexus, you know, where she needs to find that.
She looks like she's really in charge of her life, of her path, you know, and she's got the courage to go forward, you know. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Did you want to do the next one? Shall we take it in turns?
I've picked this strength card here is from the Fairy Folk. Now this is a deck very new to me recently. This one is a little bit as not a little bit, it's exactly what you said earlier on, you know, having strength over something, because we have the Fairy Folk here, you know, gripping onto this toad, and it doesn't look gentle, it doesn't look kind, it doesn't look like this individual, this Fairy Folk is sort of focusing on their strength but overpowering. That's what I feel on this. If I was to pull this card out for somebody, my question would be, are they potentially using their strength to try and overpower somebody? Do you know what I mean? Or something, as opposed to using their strength to step out there and be strong enough to face what comes their way. Now, this could be strong enough to face what comes their way. This guy could be rescuing this frog from this tidal wave behind them. You know, there's so many ways that it can be read in the sense of our own personal strength, but also Chester, but also asserting strength over others. You know, this would not be one of my most favorite strength cards, I have to be honest. I like the strength card, but this particular deck, I would not consider this as one of my favorite ones. It just, I don't know, it looks too much like there's a little bit of dominance going on in it. Do you know what I mean? And that's, like we said, that's not what the strength card is all about. Not for me anyway, not for yourself. You know, so you'll see that when we compare the decks and we look at them, you can sort of glean different aspects of the term strength from each one, you know? Yeah.
Beautiful. And what deck was that, did you say? The Fairy Folk?
That was the Fairy Folk Tarot. This was gifted to me last week. It's a nice-ish deck, but it's a very strange deck at the same time.
Wow.
I think if it hadn't have been gifted to me, it's not one I would have picked out.
Yeah.
You know?
That's strange, isn't it, sometimes? Sometimes, because I'm sent some decks like by Cheryl for review, and I think I wouldn't have bought that, but I'm really glad I've had the opportunity to work with it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the little white book in it is very much that. Now, if you were to look in this one for the little white book, it doesn't give you keywords. It actually gives you a little paragraph on it. So for strength, this one here, it states, real strength means getting your hands on that wriggly and slimy proverbial toad and working it into submission. You know, so it's got that air of dominance again. But then it states, be gentle on your quest and hang on. Your efforts will be successful if you have patience and gentleness amid power struggles. You are strong and should not compromise. So it has the two sides of the coin there, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my next one is from the Gaian Tarot. This has been re-released, by the way, I think either this month or May, by Red Feather, because this is the Llewellyn version, and then Schiffer released it probably about 10 years ago with double borders, and they were huge, and everybody complained. So now they're re-releasing it with a little green border. But this is the strength card for the Gaian, and again, I just think it is so beautiful. Both at complete one with each other, both at peace, and that it almost feels for me like, because of the radiant energy of the sun as well, that she's absorbing the strength from the lioness. Just beautiful.
Yeah, it is absolutely stunning, that.
Yeah, and even things like the flowers in it and everything, it's just beautiful deck. Beautiful deck anyway, the whole.
Those two strength cards that you've shown us really do blend well together, don't they?
Yeah,
they really do.
I'm wondering how the Lubbock might fare because it's quite medieval. I can't think of what it looks like.
My next strength card is from the Illuminati Tarot. Sorry, Simon, I'm just jumping in there. Had you finished with that one?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And this is from the Illuminati Tarot Illuminati. Sorry about the glare on it there. I'll just try and see if I can stop that glare. But this has that gentle side to it, pretty much like yours there, Simon, where the person and the lion are sort of comfort, looking after each other. It's a gentleness, a strength in gentleness, and being the colours coming from the wand, creating the not the lemniscat. What's it? I've gone blank, Simon. What's
the lemniscat.
It is, yes. Yeah. I was thinking, it's Ouroboros lemniscat. Do you know when your brain sort of has a brain fart? That just happened. But creating that lemniscat, it's like saying that even in gentleness and your strength carries magic, and it can lift you through a lot of things in life. And that's what I like about this deck. It just has that color, that beauty, and again, it has that air of gentleness about it. Yeah.
Wow, the strength card in the Lubbock is really interesting. And I kept thinking, I can't remember what the strength card looks like. And then as soon as I looked at it, I thought, of course, she's actually riding a 7-headed beast.
Oh, wow.
However, I don't know if you can see at the bottom, there is the lion. Yeah, in tow, on a leash, going along, quite happy. But she's taking the reins of this beast, and going where she wants to go. She's side saddling. She's in control. She showed an enormous amount of strength, and fortitude, and calmness. But she's taking control. She's mastering the beast. But I love the little nod to the lion at the bottom.
Yeah. That's how would you interpret that, Simon, if you were reading that?
So I would see that if for me it's a strength card, but it's showing how that strength can be harnessed and channeled to take you where you need to go. So whenever I hear of a 7-headed beast, I think of Revelations. That was my background, and it's supposed to be this terrible this terrible monster. And here she is, side saddle, in control, composed, really in touch with her inner strength, and she's taking the reins, and she's saying, this is the direction we're going in. And she's also got the little line there to show that he's going along with her as well. That courage is going with her on the journey. So if I was reading that, I'd be like, you've got to dig deep, you've got to keep calm, you've got to use your strength to show you're in control. And that's the direction that you're heading in.
But that equally, that also gives you Chariot vibes as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
She's sort of in control of her journey. And as David says, I like the word fortitude because it carries connotations of accepting what's thrown at you and overcoming. Absolutely, David. Point.
Yeah. Oh. I suppose the difference with the Chariot would be that Chariot always kind of shows movement, sometimes in different directions, making sure you're staying on the right path. Whereas I think everything, because it's the Fool's journey, everything in the tarot is leading on anyway. Everything's a journey towards the end goal. Yeah.
Oh, Rachel has spotted Chester having a nap there behind me. Making himself comfortable there.
I have to look at this to get a bigger picture. So how cute.
He's actually leaving us on Thursday. He's going back to his family.
Oh,
So,
really?
yes, yeah, we've had him for a couple of months now, and they're going to be taking him back on Thursday evening. So I know.
Is he a Lhasa Apso?
No, would you believe he's a Heinz 57? He's actually,
Really?
yeah, he's Sally and Sammy's genetic brother. He's from the same litter.
Oh,
And
right.
the three of them couldn't be more different. Sally's white, Sammy is champagne, and Chester's the black and grey. But their father was a cross between a pug and a King Charles Spaniel. And you can see that in their faces. They've got that, overbite, and they've got this little short snout. Sally definitely has the more pug face, and the mother was a cross between a Bichon Frise and a Shih Tzu. So they've got, even their fur are completely different textures to everybody, to each other's, but their personalities are very much the same. Sally and Sammy are going to miss him like mad,
I bet. Oh.
Yeah. So it's a shame. Yeah. Now, my next strength card is from the Dark Mansion. Chester, it's all right. It's a helicopter. Shh, shh, shh. Poor Chester barks at anything. Chester. Shh. Good boy. So what I like about this one is like a person's strength is giving them that bravery to step out and just be exactly who they want to be, being in charge, being brave, being fashionable, wearing what they like. Do you know what I mean? Having that quirkiness, not being afraid to show your quirkiness. Be quirky, be out there and be happy, Sorry about this. I'm just turning that down. Honest to goodness, it always happens. Don't ring me tonight. So that's what it just shows strength in another way. And when you look at the three of them, we've got our strengths addressing all different aspects of us. Do you know what I mean? Of our personalities, of our lives, Chasing helicopters is impressive. I know, David, you wouldn't believe what this dog does. Hey, Chester, do you want to come here and say hello? Come on. Oh, no. That's Daddy back from his walk. Oh, so there you go. So what have you got there next, Simon?
So what was the next card after strength?
Mine was strength. We said I was going to say strength. We can use the Fool, the Hermit, anyone. You can pick the next one. Actually, it's not really.
Let's have a look then.
You can pick the next one there, and I'll dig it out of mine.
Okay. Let's have a look. If I can find. What might be interesting, if we go, just because these decks are very different when it comes to the Hierophant.
Right, okay.
So, let's have a look, see if I can find the second one. Yes. Okay. That's that one. That one.
Is it?
Yeah, I've used the Hierophant.
Okie dokie.
It's not a card I particularly like.
No, it has.
But I'll just show you three different ones.
Yep, no problem. I'll dig mine out now.
Okay, so while you're doing that, I'll show the first one. So the first one, in the Greenwood, the Hierophant is the Shaman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I love when the Hierophant is taken out of the traditional church type setting and put in keeping with a theme of a deck, particularly because I like decks that I do like traditional decks. That's why I like the Lou box so much. But if I like pagan based or nature based decks, I love to see what they come up with for the Hierophant, because otherwise it's quite jarring to have the traditional in there. Yes. And the Shaman is just beautiful. It's the wise one. It's the one that people go to for counsel, for advice, for healing, rather than somebody going to hear dogma and thou shalt not and all that sort of thing. And this is so nature based. When you see it wearing an animal skin, I know people won't necessarily like that, but this is part of the history. And then the beautiful, instead of having two supplicants, we've got the animals like stags and deer, etc. in there. But and it's just so simplistic as well, just a blue sky to, often when we talk about tarot and we talk about the colours that are used, and that blue is healing anyway as a colour, as an energy. But also when we see blue skies in tarot, it talks about, the as above and the connection with all that is. And I just think that's perfect for the shaman card.
I do like the type of Hierophant you're talking about, far more nature-based, because it makes things more real. Okay, I like that. I have a little bit of an aversion, as you similar to yourself, with the church-based Hierophant, and this one in particular. It's not a card I particularly like. It's very, well, you can see the Pope, and they've got two priests down here. It's almost like he's sort of, well, I don't know, to be quite honest. He's now in here he has a lamb on his knee, but it's very, very. It actually surprises me that these Christian images are sort of aimed for within tarot. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know about yourself, but I know in the Catholic Church, if I walked in with a deck of tarot cards, they'd probably hope that I'd spontaneously combust as I set foot inside the building. But so it's very. I even sometimes, I've got to be honest, have difficulty reading them, because this type of advice I would not go for from anybody looking or wearing this garb. So in a sense, it makes me, sorry. And so for me, that Hierophant is, I do find that a difficult card to read, to be quite honest with you. Other times I just think, right, go for advice and you'll find the key, the penny will drop, but I try to avoid any reference to any form of religion, when I'm reading. So that one there.
I agree. It can, and there's a couple of cards I think sometimes I have to, because images are important, aren't they, when you're reading tarot? But sometimes I have to see the card and then think about the context, and then what message is that giving me right now? But the next one is from the Gaian Tarot, and this is one of my favourite cards in the deck. This is the Teacher.
Yes.
And that's the Hierophant, isn't it? I mean, the Hierophant literally means high priest, but the Teacher is an aspect of the Hierophant, but it's brought to the front here. But he is, because it's the Gaian Tarot and it's nature based and it's about the earth, that Mother Gaia, Mother Earth. Just look how he's connected to the land. His throne or his pulpit is the tree. It's the environment, and he's sitting there very content within nature, a part of nature, and that is somebody who I would quite happily sit in front of, cross my legs and in front of him and just listen and absorb. He's somebody that's shown as advancing in years, to give that aspect of wisdom and knowledge and having a life lived.
And healing as well, So through from what they say, meditation and peace and just being at one with nature.
Just beautiful and very comfortable, loose garments, barefoot, because he grounds himself. He connects with Gaia and imparts that knowledge. So
that's a beautiful card, that is. I've a very similar card with the Dark Mansion, so I'm going to skip that one because it is very similar. This one reminds me of the Bible story. Now, there's no child in this, but that Bible story, was it the Wisdom of Solomon, where he was going to cut a baby in half? Do you remember?
Oh, Ruth's baby, yeah.
Yes. You could, and only because you've got two women down here, and it looks like he's trying to stop an argument or something. And I'm thinking it really does have that sort of vibe, that Wisdom of Solomon vibe. That one does, as opposed to the churchy vibe here. You've got a biblical vibe here, So again, we have that sort of wow, But that's that one. But I'll skip straight through, if you don't mind, to my fairy tarot.
Yeah.
This is strange. This is strange with a capital Strange. There we go. We have somebody hiding beneath the book, behind a book. We have somebody here who looks quite well, not that you would approach them, and they've got some sort of clawed hand, and you're thinking, what in the name of Jesus is that when it comes to the Hierophant? Do you know what I mean? How would you even begin?
Do you know what that image reminds me of? There was a Ladybird book in the 70s that I had called Elves and the Shoemaker.
Yes.
Do you remember it? And there was these tiny little elves that used to help during the night while they were sleeping, and they crept down. And the scale of the little elves helping make the shoes. It reminds me of that.
It does actually look very similar to that sort of thing. Yes. It does not have Hierophant vibes for me. It has run, little person, for your life before you're found vibes.
So the last Hierophant I've got now, this is very traditional, but again, it's based on medieval wood blocks. Yes. But the Hierophant here, so the contrast between the two I've shown are very shamanistic and nature based. This is, he's in the garb. He's got a holy book. He's got his staff, and then he's got the supplicants that are on bended knee. Well, one's on bended knee, open hands. The other one is in prayer. I mean, I can appreciate the art from the time.
Yes.
And he's got quite a gentle face.
Yeah.
So. But it's interesting. But
face on that is far more gentle than the two traditional ones I have here. Well, the three of them.
Well, and the thing is, what this shows at least is it's indiscriminate, because you've got somebody in finery and then you've got somebody in patched up clothes. So you've got like a prince and a pauper, if you like.
Yes.
And he's there for both of them. He's saying. I will counsel you both. Yeah,
that's a nice way of reading that one. Actually, it's lovely. What's David saying here? Let's just have a look here. I actually like a traditional Hierophant as an external, organized, exoteric spiritual authority. We might not like it, but they exist, and we have to deal with them sometimes. Very true, especially here in Ireland.
Yeah. I try not to deal with them.
Oh, Lel is saying that deck would give her nightmares. What is this one here? Was it this one here by any chance? I'm not surprised. I'll tell you, I think it'd give many people nightmares. Oh, I don't know. Right, will I pick up one now, Simon?
Yeah.
Well, and then let's have a look. That's one. Do you know what I'm? I'm the decks are so different, but I'm the sort of the way my head is at the moment. I'll wake up tomorrow morning and I'll find one of these inside the Dark Mansion, another one inside, all crossed over. I'm feeling hopeless at the moment. Oh, let's have a look. Now, I think for this one, I'm actually going to pick an Ace of Swords. Oh, I'm going to stick away from the major arcane and go for a minor. I think we'll go for the Ace of Swords. That's I do like my aces, I have to be honest. But
so as I've called arrows in this deck, so let's find that. Ace. Found 3 aces so far.
Oh yeah. Oh, ace. There we go. And this one here.
Mine are always near the end.
I know, it's coming here. You can guarantee if you started from the back, they'd be at the front.
Oh, that's really abstract.
Do you want to start while I'm looking for my third one, Simon? I'm looking for one for my party now.
I can. I've only found one so far, though.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Let me just find this second one.
Have you planned any holidays this year, Simon?
So I'm off next week, but I'm just taking some downtime next week because I'm away for the next 3 holidays. So going to Whitby in May next month with Sandra.
Yeah.
And then in August, I'm going to Oxford to see Becca. And then in October, going to Glastonbury for a week. We're having a whole week. So,
a whole week in Glastonbury. That sounds brilliant.
Yeah, can't wait.
Ooh, that sounds brilliant. I'm actually going to be introducing my husband to glamping. Well, I'm trying to anyway. The poor man doesn't get a minute.
I've gone through this deck twice. Why can't I find the Ace of Air? 10 of Air. Elder of Air. You might want to show one first.
Okay. And what I'll do with this one, I think, Simon, is hold the 3 up together.
Yeah,
and then
that's an idea.
And then that will how will that go now? This is from the deck that Lel said would give her nightmares. So this particular one here, and like that for this Ace of Swords, it's sort of always I say always, it can represent coming through hard times and reaching the goal that you were going for. After some battles, and this one really does depict that. The tip of the sword has been worn off. It looks like he's had to go through brambles and everything else to reach the target, really battle his way through. But there's something new at the tip of the blade, and that's the emergence of a butterfly. And it's like it's saying, well, you have come through so much, it's now your time to fly. Now off you go. So that's one that I like there. These two are very similar, but again here, this one is your straightforward standing on a plinth, and it's that the stormy skies behind it, and again coming through hard times. But we have a dove in this one at the very back here, and it's really quite. There's Jerry. That's my husband, Jerry, just coming in the room.
Hi, Jerry.
How you doing?
You're talking to the world now. And on this one here, again, we have the growth, we have the mountain, we have a butterfly on the handle here. I don't know if you can see that there. There's an actual butterfly on the handle, and again coming through a lot of trials and tribulations, but in a much sort of more direct success, as opposed to stormy success of the other two. Do you know what I mean? It seems to be not as harsh a battle. If that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah.
So mine are a real mixed bag. So within the Greenwood, it's quite abstract, this one. Yes. And the aces are, but it has keywords, and this is the breath of life. And if you think of the aces as that beginning and the breath as air, it's all, and it feels very primal and you've got that point almost like a cell beginning, and it says the breath of life, and everything starts, doesn't it, with obviously with a beginning and with a spark. And I always think of obviously swords is to do with the mind, the intellect, and our consciousness as well.
That's right. And clear. I'm sorry for cutting in on you there. Clear cut communication. You know, no nonsense, making everything transparent, you know.
Yeah, and then Rachel says, all these butterflies today, and absolutely right, because in my Gaian, I've got a butterfly as well with its wings coming out.
That's a beautiful Ace of Swords. I like that. Yeah,
it's gorgeous, isn't it? And again, this is based on the elements because it's Gaia, so it's Ace of Air, but you've got the new buds, and it's perfect for this time of year. Having the new buds, everything coming to life, the butterflies. But it certainly is an evening of butterflies.
It really is.
To be.
And the tree on that looks like my cherry blossom that's just blossoming today. Flowers really come out just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Ace of Swords is really really intriguing because we've got two landscapes down here. One that's kind of like a battlefield, and then the other where she's in a meadow, she's carrying some water bales. But we've got the sword, we've got the laurel, and then we've got creatures of the air represented the suit here, a bit like you're sitting on the hilt of the sword. But I like that sort of, again, that juxtaposition of the two possibilities, and I think if we're, like I said, everything starts with a thought and it's where you want to end up. And I like the fact that this is cutting right through of two different kind of possibilities, because whenever, I don't know about you, Elaine, but whenever I'm reading for somebody and I get an ace card, I always talk about that spark, that beginning, but also what if that's the beginning, what do you want your ending to be?
Yes, what are you heading for? Yes,
exactly,
absolutely. I'm just going to open the door here because I think Sam needs the loo. Hold on a second.
No worries.
No, Chester, you can't go out. I'm sorry, you have to wait here for a minute. You have to just go there a minute, Chester. Sorry.
David says, often the butterfly often represents metamorphosis and it flies in air. So good choice. Absolutely.
There we go. Yes. I have to be honest with you. When I see, when I go for a deck, I always like to look at the aces. For some reason, I have a love of the aces in the minors. They just seem to scream either new beginnings or achievements and passions. And I think when I can gel with them, I think you can actually feel. And there's one deck I have. Oh gosh, which it's not the Cosmic Visions. It's, oh my goodness, I can't think of the name of the deck. And I couldn't put my hand on it right now. But the Ace of Pentacles is like looking through a dream catcher into like a little den of, and you can see little foxes curled in underneath. It's all nature based, but it's so beautiful. It's not the
Enchanted Forest. Witch's Wisdom?
No, I don't know. I don't think it's Witch's Wisdom. I'm just trying. Oh, I will find it. When I do, I'll pop it up on the page. I'll actually say on your page, I'll go, that card that we were talking about the other night.
David says, is it Alchemical Visions?
No, it's not the Alchemical Visions. It's one that's very similar to, it's not the Cosmic Tarot. Is it the New Beginnings? Is it called New Beginnings?
Can't think.
I can't think. Oh, I'll come across it.
It will come to you. Yeah.
It will come to you, but it's really quite.
I like what you're saying about looking for the ace as well, because what I like is when a deck, because the minors can go off through different suits in all different directions, but I love it when the aces are aligned. And if you lay your 4 aces down and they
Yes.
follow this sort of uniformity, and you think, oh, they
Yes.
look beautiful, the four of them together.
Yes.
So each saying their own thing, representing their own suit and element, but they're
Yes.
perfectly aligned. I love it. I love it when
So
that happens.
I love that. And do you know other decks that I like that with, like, say, with the alignment and the storytelling? Oh, is it the Cosmovisions and things? All those ones
Yeah.
that each suit creates one image, and it goes on and on. You know, at different stages. It's just so beautiful and so cleverly done. You know, so cleverly done. But like that, if you were advising people, Simon, on how to become more familiar with the deck, how to become more familiar with understanding the meanings of the cards, understanding, you know, how to read them for either themselves or others, what would activities be that you would reckon a person could do to practice?
So I always tell people, and I think it's just because it's the way I learned. So as you know, in the 80s, my first deck, one JJ Swiss, only worked with the majors, couldn't fathom the minors. They just looked like pretty patterns on
Yes.
cards. And then I worked with soul cards, and when I worked with soul cards exclusively in the early 2000s, 2001, 2, 3. It was very much just sitting with the images and what am I picking up from the images. And what I realized very quickly was it would depend on my life state. So if I was angry about something, I'd see something completely different in one particular image. If I was looking at it another day and I felt really relaxed and quite content and happy, I would see something very different, because it's the mirror that reflects back to us. So when I came back in 2006, when I decided to buy an RWS deck, and I bought Tarot Bible with it, what I wanted to do first of all was to almost use it in the same way as I had the soul cards, because that was what was familiar. And I bought the Tarot Bible, and it sat on the shelf for the longest time. And I would lay down a few cards, and I would look at the story that was forming. And I think the RWS in particular lends itself really well for that, because they are story images. You look at something like the Six of Cups, and you see these two children, and they're looking at the flowers, and you're thinking, well, they're in a happy home, they're quite content. They're looking at the simple pleasures in life. I remember when I was 6 or 7, I had a very loving home environment. We didn't have a lot of money, so we made our own entertainment, and we enjoyed the simple pleasure. And then instantly you've got that connection of nostalgia back. So the images really lend themselves. So I always say to people, books are great, but books are one person's interpretation.
Exactly, yes.
So I would use something like the Tarot Bible eventually, just to look at keywords. But what I discovered was, actually, because I'd spent a lot of time with images, particularly for the minors, which I always found, like I say, with Marseille, very difficult. They were stories in there, whereas the majors aren't. Majors are life experiences, big life experience, and you very often get full facial people like the emperor, or the hermit, or whatever. So, but the others are stories, because they're the small things in life that connect. So what I found was, when I did eventually pick up a book, actually I'd learnt the meanings without reading a book. Yes, there were some tweaks, and I thought, oh, actually, I've not thought of it like that, so I found it useful. But the books, I think, should underpin your intuitive abilities of looking at the images. So that's the route I always tell people. Spend time with a deck. Even if you sat watching TV or whatever, sit with a deck in your hand and just keep going through the images and get to know them. Like we do children, when we're a child and we can't read, we sit looking at images, don't we? We make the story from the pictures, because some words are too difficult for us to read. And then as we get older and we learn the words, they they give an underpinning knowledge to the story of what you've learned through the pictures.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I tell you one activity that I enjoy, and I actually still enjoy doing it now, because I use I haven't always used my tarot for this particular task, but I have started using my tarot for this particular task, and it's when I'm writing. And I love that, just as you have very, very correctly and wisely said, that each picture is a story. And it's lovely to be able to say, right, okay, let's create a scenario and create a main character. And there are characters. Now let's pull cards from the tarot and see how that character blossoms and grows. And it's creating an imaginative piece of writing using the tarot and the characteristics of that card and the energy of that card to create this new character. I've been using it in writing. I've done with characters I've already had going, and now I'm saying, right, hold on a second, I've hit a wall. How can I use it now? And activities that I would advise others to get used to doing: use them to tell a story, use them to tell a story about you. Keep you as the main character and explore you in the deck. I do that with some of my characters. There was one part where I was particularly stuck, and I thought, I'm going to go through my cards and see how can this person move forward in this story. And I pulled about 5 cards, and I took the character where she was, and 5 cards later I had about 3 or 4 different chapters, which was great. It was absolutely great. But I took that advice from Tarot for Writers. That's a great book. If anybody wants to use tarot for telling stories, that is a great activity. But it's a great activity to get to know the cards, and how they relate to you and another,
And then all of a sudden it just becomes second nature, doesn't it? Because I can't remember that point, but I do this on a Sunday night, so it was only last night. I will lay my cards out for the week, because I do my 3 in the morning, 3 at night, but on a Sunday, and that's what goes in my book, my journal. I lay my cards for the week, but you can lay your cards down and look at them instantly and go, I know exactly what that's telling me.
Yes.
You know, because you've done it for so long, and you just think, and sometimes it's looking at how the images are following on and how they communicate it with each other. And you read it literally like a storyboard. You think, I know exactly what that's telling me.
And you don't have to do a deep dive into it, because the message is there. It's like a poster in front of you with all the information on it. Definitely, that's happened to me now, when particularly when there's a situation, and I'm thinking, oh, hold on here, pull out the cards, and straight away, there's your answer. You don't even have to analyze each card, because, as you say, your understanding, your knowledge, it becomes second nature. Just know what that card is telling you at that time.
And because you know yourself, but what the cards have done is held up that mirror, and you've looked at it and you thought, I knew that. I knew that's what I needed to do. I know exactly what that's telling me.
Why couldn't I think about that?
Yeah.
Why did I need a card to tell me what I already know? Oh no, but it's amazing how tarot itself, as you say, definitely mirrors back our own persona, our own, also how we can find our own little foibles, and it can say, hey, come on here a minute, Elaine. Now let's look a little bit, what have you done here? What were you supposed to have done? It's very good how you can pinpoint things, Yes. So, Simon, we are actually coming to the hour. This is absolutely flown
I've just noticed.
by.
I was like, I just heard the town hall bells ringing. Yes. And I was like, oh my God, we've been on an hour already. And that's just...
Yeah, it's flown by, absolutely flown by.
I want to thank you.
Oh, I've loved having you here. Thank you so much for coming on today. I will actually reveal to everybody that's watching us here, Simon, I actually nearly stood Simon up because we had this plan to come on tonight, and I actually had gone for a bit of a lie down. I got your message. Holy God, it's that time.
Well, I thought when it got to 5 to, and I know you sent me a message this morning saying, "Can we meet up 10 minutes before?" I thought, well, let me just let Elaine know I'm waiting back with the cinema, and I'm in the background.
Oh, thank you everybody for joining Simon and I here tonight. It's been great having you here with us. And Simon, once again, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom, because you're welcome. Have a lot, and it's lovely. Thank you.
I've loved it. I don't very often, believe it or not, I don't often get invited onto other people's channels. So it's always, when people ask me, I always say, yeah, I'll do that. That'll be fun. Yes. So thank you for asking me on.
You're very welcome. And Simon, we won't leave it too long. We'll do something again.
Brilliant. Yeah, let's do that.
Definitely. Listen, you take care. And
you too.
Have
Bye,
a lovely
everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.